people who have cheated before. Why did he do it? He cheated first, and I was young, pity, and the revenge will make me feel better. Oh man, same here. Can't say I regret it, to be honest, but I will never do it again. It's never worth the hassle. Mine cleared first too. It wrecked me. Well, right after we got married, he said he will divorce me if I got fat. I gained weight. He made me feel awful. I was so young, trapped far away from home, with young kids. He was with someone with my name too. I had zilch of self-esteem. I regret a lot of stuff. Now I'm with the most wonderful person who makes me feel like I'm the best of the best. This was me. She did it first and I'm not knowing how to deal with it. My visceral response was to cheat on her immediately. Didn't really help, but it was good lesson to learn early on. Same, and I felt awful after. I cried for a long time. Obviously, that whole relationship was a toxic mess though. Yep, the only time I cheated the relationship was already over, but we were still living together. It was a weird situation, but he had cheated, so I thought, whoever cares? Same. I did it though. As soon as I did it, I wasn't mad anymore. We're at 20 plus years together now and are happy. Honestly, post-cheating marriage isn't bad. It's comfortable. If he cheated again, it will be over. And there is peace in that because I don't worry about it or stress wondering if he's cheating. If he is, he is. Eventually, I will find out. Unbridled ego, unsatisfying regular sex life, and a girl who threw herself at me. I was an idiot, acted like a bad person, and I will regret it the rest of my life. I mean, at least you're honest about it. It was a hard truth to face. It was a dark time in my life where my ego and my immaturity caused me to hurt several people I loved. Fortunately, I learned from it. And while I can't take back the pain I caused, at least now I know what I'm 100% capable of being a bad person, and so can choose not be one. What is the most difficult step a man can take? The next one. Good job taking the next step. Thanks. That was a hard one. I learned my lesson. It's been over 15 years and I have never cheated or lied to my girlfriends again. Did you confess or she found out? She found out. One of the things I regret as much as actually cheating on her was the lying. Lying to her face. Lying to my friends. I shouldn't have cheated. And after that, I shouldn't have lied. List goes on. I was a jerk. This response is a great example of why I don't subscribe to the once a cheater, always a cheater course. Those like yourself who can acknowledge their actions and flaws, who are genuinely remorseful and apologize to those hurt, and who show change via their actions are less likely to cheat again. When you become more self-aware, plus courageous enough to be honest with yourself and others about your flaws, choices, and motivations, then your personal ethos and integrity become apparent. I would consider you're less likely to cheat than some other folk. Remember, the next step is forgiving yourself too. That does not empty forgetting this essential lesson, just lifting any burden of guilt that might be weighing you down and holding back your personal growth. I think a big part of learning in mission is actually acknowledging what pieces of shit we can be and the dumb shit we are capable of. That way we are much more equipped to prevent it. As opposite to believing that we can never do wrong or be a bad person. Kudos for developing the awareness and learning from it. Own up, take it on the chin, promise yourself to be better, and you're already a step above everyone else. Heck, you're a step above me, and I haven't even cheated. We are more than our worst mistake. I've cheated on 2 girls. They both treated me terribly, but instead of leaving, I was too weak to do that, so I cheated instead. I don't regret it though, but it wasn't the best way to go about it, so I know I just break up with people. It's very childish at first, I know. That's why I changed it too. I will also note my dad was a serial cheater, and I definitely think that broken childhood has something to do with it. But I'm not invested enough to discover this angle further, and instead told myself to stop. So basically, whenever you start to consider cheating on your partner, give it a test swing first. I don't know, man. I don't think they will appreciate it if some random dude started jerking off in the middle of the dance floor. It's not fair. I'm a woman. Our past net clarity only lost like 15 seconds. Then I'm ready to sin again. But as a guy, I have to wait about 20 minutes before I can disappoint you again. Solution: always be nothing. My past not clearly is what keeps me from cheating. I have fantasy after fantasy popping in, and mostly with friends or spouses of friends, an NPC, and a repulsive though on cheating and hurting in love one for sex makes me never going for it. I'm just putting out the way that works for me to not send those daring DMS, engaging in risky behavior, etc. And actually, we're faithful, and cheating is not worth it. It's a fantasy, just because I will never do it. When I have dreams about being with another woman as soon as it turns sexually, I tell the dream lady, no, 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 I'm married. Which sucks because dreams feel so real, but it also confirms that I have deep anti-cheating mindset too in a way. My wife knows I have a wild imagination, and about who in our circle even. We are way more open to those things that must because there is a trust, and knowing that thinking doesn't affect anyone. You might find it not decent of me, and you have the right to do so. Lastly, I have in fact talked about this with a mental coach and a therapist, and not once did they try to put me off doing so. My overall demeanor and physical appearance are what keep me from cheating. 100% pure lust. That's it. I'm not proud of it. It was amazing how many times when I did have a steady girlfriend, I will suddenly get proposed by random women or worse yet, my girlfriend's friends or sisters. Too many times to be a fluke. It was like they figured if you're in a relationship, you're worth pursuing. But when I was single, most times I couldn't get a woman's attention. So it was an ego boost. But ultimately, I decided to be a better person. And like some have said, I met a person who I truly thought was the one. And to a certain extent I did. It just didn't last through no fault of my own. This is what recently happened to my husband. We've been married 15 years, and it was the woman online who played the same video game as we did and happened to be local. I wasn't around much because I had been taking a break for other games, and she thought all of his commentary about his wife was a joke and he didn't actually have a wife. She eventually proposed to him outright, and he reiterated he was married, and she was so embarrassed. He gave me full disclosure when it happened, and we laughed it off as a joke. However, she kept being flirty and like being weird about wanting him to take her to a special restaurant that was local and that it will be his treat. Point he was like, you shall join this Discord server just so she knows you're the real. And after I joined, she pretty much fell off the face of the planet and disappeared. Which in a way sucks, because from what I understood, she and I had similar interests and could have been friends. But it's very obvious in hindsight she just wanted to fuck my husband and was treating this online game as a potential dating app. In hindsight, after all of this, I also can bullshit that she didn't think he was married and wasn't really testing to see if he'd still met her. Lots of factors. 1. You're absolutely right once you're taken. Some women may see you as worth pursuing. Some may also see you as a validation conquest. But there are other factors too. If you're in a relationship, you're probably not coming off as trying too hard. You're more relaxed and more confident. Probably don't have sex as a goal as often. You also have proven not a creep, you're safe. Also, very good chance you're more sociable with single women. When you're single, you're probably most hanging out with your friends, who are probably mostly guys of their girlfriends. When you're in a relationship, you're probably hanging out at least some with your friends, who are more likely to be women. It's called preselection. Women judge men wanted by other women as more attractive, and being in a relationship shows that you've been selected by other women. Interestingly, women tend to rate a man in photos when he is surrounded by women as more attractive than otherwise, whereas men tend to rate a woman in a photo surrounded by men as less attractive. Insecurity. I was always on the look for someone who will make me feel more desirable than the last. Once I grew up emotionally, I realized what a pose I was and the hurt it caused. Hard to live with, to be honest. Can I just make it clear I was not a serial adulterer? It was a youthful look of judgment. Yep, exactly this plus being an alcoholic, which makes all the decisions so much more dumb. It's awful to reflect on. It makes me feel so cheap and shitty, like it just happened even though it's years later. When you grow up being in turn neglected and told you're not good enough, validation is like a drug. And intimacy is the ultimate validation. So much therapy to undo this. This. I'm just recently realizing how I didn't receive enough attention and validation from my parents, and how much it's influenced my choices. Meeting someone and having them be into me physically is the easiest validation boost I can find. People who grew up with parents actually interested in them and with an instilled sense of self confidence don't know how good they have it. I don't inherently feel important or relevant, so I'm always looking for someone to tell me otherwise.